So right here I have an edelweiss grapevine growing on this 8-foot tall trellis. The reason why I put it that high is because there are molds and whatnot, bacteria that are at ground level, and in the spring they rise up and they're trying to latch onto a leaf, and then it just grows from leaf to leaf. And by having that grapevine at 8 feet, it's higher than those bacteria can rise up to. And then obviously I have them growing at closer to the ground here later in the season, but by that time our crop is established. So these are edelweiss grapes right here. They look really nice. Look at that. Get that in the sun there a little bit. Yeah, they're bright and very juicy pulp. I suppose most grapes have that, but they have a burst of joy in the center. They do have seeds. A very interesting sweet flavor. These are definitely worth eating. What's so interesting is there's a lot of flavor. It isn't just sweet water or sweet juice. And the pulp is rather solid, so it's easy to get the seeds out. Oh yeah. This is one of the 2 fruit that I've been eating a lot over the last month. I have a lot of varieties of grapes growing on my property. The other fruit being blackberries. What happened? Where did it go? So let me show you some more stuff. Again, there's the leaf. Edelweiss grapes. Okay, I got a stump here I can step on. Boy, I just barely reach it. Ooh, I got it. So this is the Valiance, very dark, and the flavor is 100% grape. They actually got sweeter than the last time I had them. And what I mean by 100% grape, if you buy those grape popsicles in the store, that's the grape taste that you get out of these Valiants. Hard to get the berries out of the pulp. They're almost like fused together. All in all, I probably wouldn't recommend this one because of all the diseases and the seeds that won't come out of the pulp. But I put it in the right spot back here. I got a lot of other plants growing, so it isn't like a wasted space. Right now I'm looking at Indian currants and asparagus and Nanking cherry and elderberries, blackberries. Inside the fence I know I've got currants and gooseberries. So this grapevine is having to share the space with a lot of different plants. This tastes good though. I had thoughts of grafting this rootstock, but I kept having really big problems getting grapes, but I might let it hang around another year or two, see what happens. I have read that plants have memories. Sometimes it takes a couple years for them to build defenses to some of these diseases. It's a nice taste experience. I'm going to show you some of these grapes are pretty old. I thought I harvested them all, but one got past me. Was probably hiding behind some leaves. Okay, let's see what else I got on property. This is a grapevine I got growing underneath an apple tree. I'm going to let it spiral its vines through the tree branches. So we get 2 harvests out of this tree, apples and grapes. Got an apple. Here's another grapevine that's growing up into an apple tree. And this vine is a little more mature. It's got an extra year's growth. It's already in the tree. And I'm not even sure what it is anymore. I can't find a tag. It's got to be down in there somewhere. Well, whatever. We might have to have a grape expert come and visit us someday and tell us what I got. Here we have one that's on its 3rd year. The first 2 years actually didn't do very well because it was in the shade of the tree. But it's finally gone up, and it's all the way. It's higher than the tree is now. Used as one of these branches as leverage and shot right into the sky. But there's two main vines coming up into the tree now. There's one that's kind of growing to the side, on this side, one growing to the side. That's okay, we'll let her go. There's actually a tag on this one yet. It's a Niagara. We'll see what that turns out to be. That was a big box store purchase. I like buying all that stuff on clearance at the end of the summer. So here's another one that's 3 years old. And it's got a pretty thick vine. And this one actually got ate by a deer 2 years in a row. Now this year, last winter, I actually caged it all the way up to the tree. So the deer wasn't able to eat it. And I'll probably have to do the same thing again this winter because this vine is still green. The deer will go ahead and they'll cut it in half. But it's growing up the tree, and this tree's at least 15, maybe 20 feet tall, and I'd say it's up there right to the top. So in 1 year, it went from this tall all the way to the top of this tree, 20 feet tall. That's pretty cool. Anyways, I got a tag on this one. This is a Alden grape. And one of the reasons it probably made it to the top or is ahead of the other two is this one I planted on the sun side of the tree instead of in the shade of the tree. So here I just walked through this asparagus patch, and I have a heavenly blue grapevine, and I have fence posts that are angled towards the south or towards the sun. And I want to explain the reason why I do that is I also have a tayberry here, and I'm going to put when this tayberry gets more mature, I'm going to put posts straight up and down right alongside here, and that tayberry is going to be trained on a straight axis here, whereas the grapevines are going to be trained onto cables that are posted on these posts, that are attached to these posts. Now what's going to happen is when the summer sun comes overhead, it's going to be almost directly overhead when this tayberry plant really needs to have it to make berries, and it's going to shine right down on the tayberries instead of being in the shade of the grapevines, because the grapevines will be angled away. And then beneath, or on the other side of the poles, underneath, I have jostaberries planted. Now jostaberries, they leaf out very early in the year, early April. And they're going to get their photosynthesis in and their fruit set before the grapes even bud out their leaves. So now, this time of the year, now we're talking about early September, of course all this will be shaded, but the jostaberries don't mind to live in the shade, and they'll be able to do their slow growth in the shade. And along with that, I got tomatoes planted. Tomatoes are also a companion plant for grapes. See the tomatoes right there next to the camera. These are good ones too. Yeah. Y'all might wonder why I'm fat. So right here we have a Canada's grapevine, and these grapes have been the star of the show this year. Look at that. Just terrific. Let's get a close-up of that. Look at that. These things are so sweet, they're like sugar cubes. And the best part of all, they're seedless. You're really good. I've been selling some of these at the farmer's market. This vine has been so loaded. It had 100 plus clusters like this on it. Huge producer. So I've had quite a few harvests off of this row of pink Reliance. These are also seedless. These are the last 2 clusters that are left, and they actually aren't ripening quite yet. Some of them are. Let me pick a few of them. No sense in picking the green ones. That's what they look like right there. They're also seedless. They're also sweet. Wow, that's good stuff. I have 2 different grapevines to tell you about on this fence trellis, but before that, let's talk about these blackberries. Look at that. I'm going to pick some of these and sell them at the farmer's market on Saturday. I have had my absolute fill of blackberries. And I've got some Primacanes coming, so I'm going to have blackberries until October. It's been just terrific. So anyhow, I've got more edelweiss here. Let's see it way over here. I'll go ahead and clip a little bit off here. Show you. So we have 2 edelweiss vines. That's the grapes that they're giving us here. Very sweet pulp. I'll be picking these and bringing some to the farmer's market. The really nice thing is they're large, and the seeds separate easily from the pulp. You just kind of squish them with your tongue a little bit and they just pop right out. Just like that. Sometimes these grapes have an astringent skin, but this one doesn't at all. It's like there's nothing there. And the other one is called Marquette. See them in here? They're really dark. Very, very dark berry. And these are also sweet. They're not as large as the edelweiss, but they have a really sweet flavor. And very dark. I really like it. It doesn't have that astringency like a Concord does. Just a real smooth, sweet taste. Very good. Okay, I got a lot of other different varieties of grapevines, even other than that. Most of the ones I didn't show you were planted this spring. So they got a ways to go to prove themselves. At least they got to make it through the winter, right? They can make it through a winter, and if we can have a cold winter and they make it through a cold winter, then they're worth talking about. So that's it. Appreciate you watching. So here's my booth today. Let's see, I've got some wild blackberries here. I cover it with the white towel so we don't have wasp issues. There's some seedless grapes. And then here are my blackberries from the backyard. Ground cherries, honey. These are apples from unattended apple trees, and purple Peruvian potatoes, and black walnuts.